Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Okay, today we're tackling someone whose career path is, well, it's really something else. We're talking Drew Allison Carey, born in Cleveland, May 23, 1958.
Yeah, I mean, trying to pin down his professional life is tricky, isn't it? You've got this fascinating mix, stand-up, sure, but also hardcore military service.
Right. The network sitcom star, improv pioneer, owning a sports team.
And hosting one of the biggest game shows ever. When you look at the sources, the big question just jumps out. How does one guy manage to bridge, like, the super disciplined world of the Marines with the total chaos of improv and stay relevant?
Exactly. He projects this, affable, everyday guy persona. But the path itself, anything but ordinary. We've got a lot of biographical material here, and our mission really is to find those moments, those aha points that show the transformation.
From Marine Sergeant E5.
Yeah, to one of the highest paid people on TV in the 90s, and now like a fixture of daytime.
And I think what we're exploring here is that pattern, maybe, that discipline he learned, but applied to these really chaotic, creative fields. You don't stick around for 4 decades across so many different things without some serious adaptability. Moving from scripts to no scripts, from producing a show to the daily grind of a game show. We need to kind of trace how that structure connects all these different worlds he's lived in. So where do we start? The beginning, right?
Okay, let's do it. The foundation. Cleveland, old Brooklyn neighborhood, youngest of 3 brothers.
And a really pivotal thing happens early on. His father dies of a heart attack. Drew is only 8.
Yeah, that's tough. And you can see how maybe that shapes things later, that search for stability, perhaps.
It often does. Sources say he went through James Ford Rhodes High School, graduated 76, then tried college Kent State, joined a fraternity, Delta Tau Delta, but it didn't really stick.
Didn't stick is putting it mildly. The sources say he got expelled twice for bad grades. For just leaving after 3 years. That feels like a real low point, The typical path just isn't working out. So how did the military happen? Was it like a conscious choice or just looking for something?
It seems very much like searching for that framework, that structure. Yeah. After Kent State fizzled out, he enlists United States Marine Corps Reserve, 1980.
Right.
And this wasn't a short stint. He did 6 years, field radio operator, 25th Marine Regiment in Ohio, made sergeant, E5.
6 years. Sergeant. That's discipline. Field radio ops, that's technical, right? Needs focus.
Absolutely. High focus, strict protocols. It's a serious commitment, even in the reserves. Reaching E5 shows he wasn't just coasting.
And the haircut, that iconic crew cut we all know, that started in the Marines. He just kept it. It's like a visible reminder of that whole period.
It really is. That structure, that discipline, it's almost the complete opposite of the improv world he'd get into later, right? But maybe it's the foundation for it. Allows him to manage the chaos.
Before the comedy, though, there were those, let's call them character-building jobs.
Yeah. Around 1983 in Vegas, bank teller, waiter at Denny's, real working guy stuff.
Okay, so then comedy. How does that start? Because it wasn't like he grew up dreaming of being a comedian, apparently.
No, it's pretty unique. It's 1985, and a friend, David Lawrence, a DJ, basically tells him, hey, you're funny, you should write jokes.
Seriously?
Yeah. And Drew apparently goes to the library and checks out books on how to write jokes. He approaches it almost like technically, methodically.
Wow, like building something from a manual. So who were his comedy heroes?
Very Cleveland-centric, which I think explains a lot about his appeal. Local TV guys like Ernie Anderson Goulardi and Big Chuck Shadowski.
Yeah.
And those humor magazines, Mad, Sick, Cracked.
Okay, so more homegrown, kind of rebellious humor.
Yeah.
Not slick Hollywood stuff.
Exactly. And it worked pretty fast. He wins an open mic contest. Then by 86, he's the MC at the Cleveland Comedy Club. That's huge for stage time, for honing the act.
But the big one.
Yeah.
The national stage, that had to be Carson, right? The Tonight Show.
November 1991. That was the launch pad. His set just killed.
Killed how? Like good laughs.
More than that, Carson himself was so impressed, he waved him over to the couch after the set.
Whoa. The couch invitation.
Yeah, that was like the ultimate seal of approval back then. It meant you'd arrived. Instant validation.
Did that sort of lock him into that lovable loser persona early on, though? The guy from the jokes?
It definitely established the character, yeah. The relatable, kind of put-upon middle-class guy, but the sources also point out his actual writing skill was recognized pretty quickly, too.
How so?
Well, just a few years later, 1994, he did a Showtime special, Drew Carey, human cartoon. and he won a Cable Ace Award for Best Writing for it.
Okay, so not just a funny face. A real craftsman behind the jokes.
Exactly. You've got the writing talent, the marine discipline, and this very relatable blue-collar vibe all coming together. That's the package that broke through.
And that package, that hapless middle-class bachelor character, became the direct blueprint for his own sitcom, right? The Drew Carey Show.
Absolutely. He teamed up with Bruce Helford, took that persona he built in stand-up, and they developed the show around it. Fictional Drew, Cleveland, his buddies.
Dealing with work, life, the usual sitcom stuff. It premiered in '95 on ABC, and it ran for 9 years.
9 years, 233 episodes, a really solid run, especially back then.
And the money. The sources mentioned his salary progression. That tells a story in itself.
Oh, it's incredible. Started at $60,000 an episode, which is already great.
Yeah, not bad.
But it just kept climbing, jumped to $300,000 pretty fast. And by the final season, he was making $750,000 per episode.
$750,000 for one episode.
Yep. Which, sounds amazing for him, but the sources are clear. That kind of salary was a huge part of why the show became so expensive to make, like $3 million an episode near the end.
Wow. Okay, so that success had its own pressures. Did that affect the show's lifespan?
It's definitely cited as a factor in why it eventually ended. High costs make networks nervous, and creatively, even with all that money, he wasn't totally happy.
Right, I remember reading about that. His book talks about fighting with the censors.
Yeah, Dirty Dirks and Beer. He details being really frustrated. He couldn't do the kind of edgier, off-color stuff that made his stand-up famous. The network wanted the safe, primetime version.
So the price of being a huge network star was kind of sanding off the rough edges that got him there.
Seems like it, but interestingly, at the same time the sitcom's huge, he finds another outlet, an unscripted one. Whose line is it? Anyway.
Ah, yes, the American version. He started hosting that in '98 while the sitcom was still on.
Exactly. And it was perfect for him. He wasn't just reading prompts. He was directing the games, setting things up, jumping into the final game.
He was the ringmaster, basically, holding the chaos together.
Which, if you think about it, goes back to that discipline again, right? You need structure to manage that level of improv spontaneity effectively. He provided the framework.
And the combination. The sitcom and Whose Line. That must have put him into the stratosphere financially.
Oh, absolutely. Forbes listed him in '98, one of the highest paid entertainers. Number 24, I think? With something like $45.5 million that year.
$45 million in 1 year. That's serious clout.
And he used that clout to push improv even further, experiment with
Like green screen show. That was different.
Yep, 2004, 2005, they did improv games against a green screen, then added animation later. It was a really technical, almost experimental approach to improv comedy.
Taking something immediate and making it post-production heavy? Interesting choice.
It shows his commitment to the form, though. He later did Drew Carey's Improvaganza, too, down in Vegas, with a lot of the same performers.
He seemed loyal to that crew, the Improv All-Stars.
Yeah, he co-founded that group, about 11 actors. They were in all 3 of his improv shows, toured together. He really built a whole scene around that specific style of improv, #5E, the game show host, and the Price is Right transition.
Okay, so he's mastered sitcoms, he's mastered improv TV. What's next? Turns out it's game shows.
Right. The ability to manage that sort of controlled chaos seems like perfect training in hindsight. It kicked off in 2007 with a CBS pilot called Power of 10.
I remember that one. Contestants guessed how Americans answered poll questions, right? Kind of cerebral for a game show.
It was. And it gave him that first taste of hosting a big network game show. But then, right after taping that pilot...
CBS comes calling about The Price is Right.
Exactly. Bob Barker was retiring after 35 years. Those are maybe the biggest shoes to fill in television history.
Seriously. And the sources say he initially turned it down. That makes sense. The pressure must have been immense.
He definitely understood the weight of it, following a legend like Barker, the risk of just being constantly compared. But ultimately, he couldn't pass it up. He announced he was taking the job on Letterman.
And he had that great quote about it, didn't he? Something about not replacing Barker.
Yeah, it was very insightful. He said, "You can't replace Bob Barker. I don't compare myself to anybody. It's only about what you're doing and supposed to do, and I feel like I'm supposed to be doing this."
That's such a disciplined way of looking at it. Focus on the mission, not the legacy before you.
It's that Marine mindset again, maybe. Execute your task. He started hosting in October 2007.
And he handled the transition really smartly, I thought. Updated the look, the music, but kept Barker's famous sign-off about pets.
That was key. Respecting the history while still making it his own. It needed that continuity.
And the format itself. A daily game show. That requires incredible consistency.
It's the ultimate structure, really.
Yeah.
Reliable, predictable schedule, but still requires energy and focus every single day. Perfect for someone who can manage both structure and performance.
And he stuck with it. He hit his 15th anniversary in 2022. 15 years hosting Price is Right. That's longevity.
It really is, especially when you add it to the sitcom years, the improv years. It's a remarkable run across different genres.
Even after Barker passed away in 2023, Carey handled it with class, hosting that tribute special.
Yeah, acknowledging the legacy while firmly being the current host. It's a demanding job. They film something like 190 episodes a year. Requires that consistent focus, #TagV, diverse interests, advocacy, and personal journey.
All right, let's peel back another layer. Beyond the TV persona, his autobiography, Dirty Jokes and Beer, came out in '97, right at the peak of the sitcom's fame.
Yeah, huge bestseller. On the Times list for months. But anyone expecting just light, funny stories, well, they got more than they bargained for.
A lot more. The title's kind of misleading, isn't it? He got really serious in that book.
Incredibly so. Yeah, he talked about his dad's death, which is sad, but maybe expected. But then he revealed he'd been molested as a child.
Wow.
And detailed really severe struggles with depression, including 2 past suicide attempts, swallowing pills.
Jeez. That's incredibly raw, especially for a guy on TV every week being the funny neighbor. How did people react back then?
It was definitely shocking to some, but also seen as incredibly brave. It puts that whole public persona into a different light, doesn't it? Suggests maybe that energy, that drive was partly about managing some really deep pain.
Makes sense. And his honesty about it, right when he was most famous, that took guts.
Absolutely. And he applied that same kind of intense focus to his physical health later on, too. Remember, he had that heart scare in 2001?
Right, chest pains during filming.
Yeah.
He needed an angioplasty.
But then, starting around 2010, came the really dramatic change, the weight loss.
Oh yeah, he lost a ton of weight, said it was all diet and exercise.
And claimed it cured his type 2 diabetes, which is a huge claim, but he was very public about it.
It's that pattern again, isn't it? Facing a major problem, mental health, physical health, and tackling it with that same, mission focus, intense discipline.
Exactly. And that intensity definitely carries over into his political views, which are, again, maybe not what you'd expect from a mainstream TV host.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. We need to be impartial here. Just report what the sources say. He's heavily involved with libertarianism, right?
Very much so. He does work for Reason.tv, their online project. He's even on the board of trustees for the Reason Foundation.
That's more than just casual support.
That's a serious commitment to a specific ideology.
And the issues he focuses on are pretty specific, too.
Yeah, things like private highway ownership, fighting eminent domain abuse.
Where the government takes private land.
Right, and advocating for medical marijuana. These are core libertarian principles about individual liberty, property rights, less government intervention.
He had that funny quote about it, defining libertarian to Craig Ferguson.
Yeah, a conservative who still gets high. Classic Carey bluntness.
But his actual voting record and donations, it's not strictly party line, is it?
No, and that's interesting. The records show donations to Ron Paul in 2008, Gary Johnson in 2016, both strong libertarians. But then in 2020, he gave money to Joe Biden, Tulsi Gabbard, and Bill Weld.
Wow, that's diverse. Biden and Weld.
It suggests he's maybe supporting individual candidates or specific stances rather than just sticking to one party label. Principle over party, perhaps?
Okay, moving away from politics.
Yeah.
Hidden talents. This guy is full of surprises, like the photography thing.
Oh, yeah, that's fascinating. He loves soccer, we know that, especially the U.S. national team. But he actually works as a press photographer at their games, on the sidelines, taking pictures.
Seriously, with a press pass and everything.
Yep. And he sells the photos under a fake name, Brooks Parkenridge.
Brooks Parkenridge. Why the pseudonym?
Maybe he wants the work judged on its own merit, not just photos by Drew Carey. It shows a genuine passion for it, wanting to engage with it seriously.
You even did a TV show about it, right? Drew Carey's sporting adventures on the Travel Channel, following the World Cup.
Exactly. Traveled around Germany, photographing the matches. Proof it's a real deep interest.
Then there are the just weird, unique pop culture moments, like the WWE thing, the Royal Rumble in 2001.
Oh, that was brilliant. He enters as Vince McMahon's buddy, stands there alone for a bit. Then the next guy in is Kane.
The big, scary demon Kane.
Right. And Carey tries to bribe him with cash. Kane's not having it. So Drew just eliminates himself, jumps right over the top rope.
Yeah, perfect comedy timing. Pure self-preservation.
But get this. That brief comedic appearance It got him inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2011.
You're kidding. For that.
Yep, shows the power of a memorable pop culture moment, I guess.
And then, connecting back to his roots, his guest spot on NCIS in 2018.
That was really poignant. He played a retired Marine sergeant, his actual final rank.
Did they acknowledge his real service?
Subtly, yeah. In the background, on a screen in the NCIS office, they showed actual photos of a young Drew Carey in his Marine uniform. A really nice touch.
Let's go. Okay, one last surprising thing. The AI experiment. Just last year, 2023.
Right. On his SiriusXM radio show, The Friday Night Freakout, he used an AI voice clone of himself, made with 11 labs, reading jokes written by ChatGPT.
He tried to replace himself with AI.
Pretty much, yeah. As an experiment. But the listeners, they hated it.
Really? What did they say?
The feedback was that the voice sounded soulless, that it wasn't the real Drew.
Huh. That tells you something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even with amazing tech, you can't replicate him, the actual person, the history, the warmth.
Exactly. The audience wants the human complexities and all. #Tag6 sports, philanthropy, and final takeaways.
Okay, let's bring it home. His other passions. Sports is huge for him, obviously. But it's more than just being a fan.
Definitely. He's a minority owner of the Seattle Sounders FC, the MLS team. That's a real financial stake in the game.
And they've done well. Won the MLS Cup a couple of times, 2016, 2019.
Yeah, so it's a successful venture, but it runs alongside his just pure, intense fandom for his Cleveland teams. Browns, Cavaliers, Guardians.
He's famously devoted to Cleveland. Didn't they give him a bobblehead calling him the greatest Indians fan alive?
He did, and he apparently said that meant as much to him as his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which tells you a lot about his priorities. Community connection over celebrity status.
And that discipline. It pops up again, even physically, much later in life, the endurance events.
Yeah, back in 2011, he ran the Marine Corps Historic Half Marathon. Pretty good time, too, like 1.57.
Wow.
And then later that year, he did the full Marine Corps Marathon, finished it in about 4 hours, 37 minutes.
Running a marathon. That takes serious training, serious grit. It's that same Marine-level commitment, isn't it? Decades later.
It all seems connected, and that commitment extends strongly to his philanthropy, especially libraries.
Right, because he says that's where it all started for him, checking out those joke books.
Exactly. He credits libraries directly.
Yeah.
And he's put his money where his mouth is. He won $500,000 for the Ohio Library Foundation on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire back in 2000.
$500,000. That's a serious thank you.
And he won more for them on another celebrity appearance later. It's a clear, direct way of giving back to the specific thing that helped him launch everything.
His charity stuff often has that unique Drew Carey twist, too, like the FIFA video game challenge.
Oh, yeah, that was great. Challenged U.S. soccer players to FIFA 07 for charity. Donated like $160,000 total to a memorial fund based on the games. Lost some, paid up, donated more. Creative giving.
And more recently, his support during the writers' strike in 2023. That was huge.
Massive, yeah. Really tangible support. He arranged to cover the cost of meals for striking WGA writers at 2 different restaurants in L.A.
Just paid their tabs.
Yep. Apparently his bill at one place was running around $10,000 a week.
$10,000 a week. That's incredible. That's not just tweeting support. That's direct, significant action, helping people eat while supporting local businesses.
Exactly. It shows a deep commitment to the creative community.
So he's earned the awards he's gotten. The Walk of Fame star, the WWE Hall of Fame thing, People's Choice, and that Lone Sailor Award in 2021.
Right. From the Navy Memorial, recognizing sea service vets who've excelled afterwards. Ties it all back to that Marine Foundation.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. We started with this idea of contradiction. Marine, comedian, sitcom star, game show host, libertarian advocate, philanthropist.
And what the sources seem to show is that the friendly, energetic guy we see on Price is every day. That's the public face, sure. But it's a face built on top of and maybe managing a really complex inner life.
Yeah, the depression, the past trauma he wrote about. And then this incredible discipline applied to everything. His health, his politics, his charity, his endurance running.
It seems like that structure he found in the Marines really became the, operating system for his whole life. Managing the chaos of fame, the personal struggles, everything. The contrast between the easygoing TV host and the disciplined, sometimes contrarian, deeply thoughtful guy behind it all, that's the real story here.
So the image we know best is maybe just the most stable, polished version of this long, intense, evolving journey.
Exactly. It suggests that even the most familiar faces on TV can have these incredibly rich, complicated histories if you dig just a little deeper. Which leaves us, and you listening, with a final thought, maybe.
What's the gap between that warm daily TV image we all consume and the decades of intense discipline, private struggle, and constant reinvention that actually created it?
Something to think about.
Absolutely. It was fascinating diving into the many lives of Drew Carey. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.